Hey guys, welcome to Flashbacks, a Flash rewatch podcast where we review every single episode of the CW Flash. I'm Alex, and I'm here once again with
Brady, as always. How you doing tonight, Alex?
good. I was trying to do like just up front because I know we always say a Flash rewatch podcast, but I'm trying to like incorporate more of like telling people what exactly they're in for, even though obviously they could read the
Yeah.
the description and everything. Just always helps just to
I mean,
let people
yeah.
know what they're in for,
You never know
basically.
which episode is somebody's first, so you gotta kind
Yeah.
of
It's
clear
like the
that up.
old comic book rule that Stan Lee used to always have. It's like
Yeah.
every comic is someone's first, every podcast episode is someone's first.
I mean, hey, in this day and age, yeah.
Yeah. But cool. So we are here today to talk about Running to Stand Still and then season 2, episode 9. And I know me and you kind of had a discussion about this before. We're like, what the hell does that mean,
Yeah,
basically?
I remember reading the title it was like on my way to work. We were texting about this. I was like, what the fuck does that title mean? And then you sent me the definition of it this morning on Discord.
Yeah, because I looked into it actually, because I'm like, well, what does this mean? Is this like a reference to something? And so, like, it kind of reminded me of it is a reference to, like, well, I'll just go for the definition first and then mention what also it's a reference to. So, the definition basically means, like, it describes a futile effort where a lot of action or extension yields no progress, similar to running as fast as you can but remaining in the same spot. The phrase was popularized by the U2 song, and it like conveys the desperation of being stuck in a difficult situation of addiction and struggling with the problem. So basically, it kind of reminded me of Arrow, where they did an episode called "Darkness on the Edge of Town," which for me, growing up with my dad being a Bruce Springsteen fan, there's a song called "Darkness on the Edge of Town," so I immediately
Oh,
thought of
yeah,
that.
that
Yeah.
title sounds vaguely familiar. I think they've used that as a title in like 17 other shows because it sounds familiar, unless I am thinking of the Arrow one.
Yeah, and apparently Bono with this coined the phrase for his song after his brother described his struggling business as like running to stand still.
Hmm.
So interesting. I would have never known that unless I looked it up. We kind of probably would just sat there like we did in that original message and be like, "What is that?" And then people
Yeah,
online would be like, "Look it up. It means this."
yeah, look it up, geniuses. I think, didn't we send that in like our chat between you, me, and Will? Will didn't even say anything. I bet he was
Yeah,
just
yeah,
like, what the fuck?
yeah. It's like running to stand still. What?
What are
But
these two
yeah.
assholes debating about?
Yeah, he's just like I'm over here with this kid. I got time to talk about what Patty and
Yeah,
Barry are up
right,
to right now.
right. Come back, Will.
Yeah, I got real responsibilities. I got time for your podcasts.
I ain't got time for your bullshit.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. But so we open up on a dramatic scene with Harry running for his life from Zoom in the halls of Star Labs. He attempts to shoot him with a gun when he runs into a side room, but that is to no effect. Zoom grabs him by the throat and he says he can kill him, just let his daughter live. Zoom remains silent, and then Harry yells for him to say something. He lowers him down, still gripping his neck, and says Merry Christmas, opening Flash logo with snowflakes and jingle bell sounds. So like we'll get into this later, but like this isn't like a media res thing. I think
Nope.
that later on how we see a certain partnership form, I think that this is
Oh,
just the beginning of it, basically. Like this is
yeah.
how he got him kind of
Oh yeah,
thing.
definitely. When I first watched this, because this is one of the ones I don't remember. Um,
Hmm.
I thought it was a dream sequence because I'm like, there is no way in fuck you let Zoom into Star Labs, and now I see why Oliver keeps making fun of Star Labs for having poor security.
Yeah. Well, when there's obviously gonna be stuff revealed later, but the person who it is kind of probably has free reign of the place when you really think about it.
True, I did not think of that aspect of it. He can
Yeah.
just literally walk in whenever he wants. You are not
Yeah.
wrong.
It's kind of like a Superman, spoilers, guys, but a
Yeah,
Superman
spoilers.
Ultraman thing when like the
Yeah.
Fortress of Solitude goes up.
Yeah, they didn't exactly hide that in the movie, did they? They're like, oh, how did they get into the Fortress of Solitude? It's
You
not the
know, I
engineer. It's not Lex. There's only one other guy there.
I weirdly, because I've seen so much superhero content and Superman content in general, like I just weirdly bought it because like
Yeah,
other
same.
times like Lex has just been able somehow to get into the fortress. So I was just like, you know what? He found some sort of way. Like I just weirdly didn't
Yeah.
question it that much.
Well, at first when they do that, I was like, "Oh, okay, this makes sense." Because, like you said, I've seen Lex get into the fortress before, and then Superman goes, "Oh, they got. How did you get in? You don't have my DNA." I'm like, "Okay, there's my
There you
answer.
go.
It's Ultraman.
Yeah. Yeah.
I knew it." But the reveal of that was still cool, regardless of whether you knew it was coming or not.
Yeah, it wasn't like, it didn't just like it's one of those where the twist didn't like it's not like a Fight Club thing where like you didn't see that coming a million miles away and then like it kind of it's not a twist that detracts from the movie if you know
Yeah,
it kind of going in.
yeah, it's still, it still was just as powerful, even knowing that was what was going down.
Yeah, definitely. So Central City is decked out in Christmas decorations, and we see someone carrying a Flash action figure still in the packaging like the one William had. Man, this is almost as blatant advertising as back when I used to work at NBC. And so I used to work at NBC as like a cameraman, and like
Oh Lord.
something that if you're not on the lookout for it, so like sometimes on like talk shows and stuff, if they have like a mug and they want the advertising thing to show it, like they'll flip it so like it faces the camera, and after you know that, you can't unsee it whenever you're watching something, basically. So
Huh.
like that kind of advertising, basically.
Okay. I will have to be on the lookout for that. Couple side notes just for, the audience and stuff real quick.
Sure.
This is probably just aesthetically one of my favorite episodes because my favorite holiday is Christmas. I love Christmas. I just love like the aesthetics and the snow and the different multicolored lights and stuff and the message of like family and all that stuff. I love it.
Hmm.
So this just aesthetically is already one of my favorites.
Cool. It's Iris holding it. Like she presents it to
Mm.
Joe and they laugh. Iris had to fight an old lady for that one, but they didn't have any Green Arrow dolls.
Reminds me of Spider-Man. I had to beat an old lady with a stick to get this.
It reminded me of that, and also reminded me of Turbo Man from
Oh,
Jingle All the
Turbo Man.
Way. Yeah,
Yes,
yeah,
I
with
love
that
Jingle
whole
All the
thing.
Way. I love Jingle All
Yeah,
the Way. But also, I figured out what the other thing was. That Flash action figure is a real figure. I looked it up and I
oh
sent
yeah.
Alex a picture of it on our like Instagram chat. I was like, "Bro,
Oh,
this is a
when it
real
was in the
figure."
packaging, you can tell. Like you can
Oh yeah.
definitely tell because I remember that packaging. I'm like, okay, they're being blatant now with it,
Yeah. I
basically.
never saw it like in stores at that time, so I was just like, okay, I wonder if this is a real thing or if they made that. That seems like a waste of money to make that just for production. So I looked it up. Yeah, they're like $30 on fucking eBay. It's ridiculous.
I think they used to sell them. I think I remember seeing them at like a Barnes and Noble or something at some point. Like they used to sell them at bookstores occasionally or other places, I
Huh.
think.
Yeah,
But
see,
yeah,
I didn't start going to Barnes and Noble till I started dating my girlfriend, so
yeah, I hear you. But Joe
that
says, "Don't nobody want a toy of that crazy man," which I thought was really funny. Like they're still, even though like he's interacted with them, they're still painting like Oliver as like this maniac, like he is in season one, basically.
which is very funny. But to
Yeah,
be fair, Joe has very limited interaction with Oliver, so he just is just one track when it comes to Ollie. He's this maniac who fucking murders people with a bow and arrow.
definitely. So Joe can't figure out what to get with Barry. It's been a rough few months. Iris agrees, and he says he misses Eddie too, which I thought was like a nice moment. We do too, man. But
Yeah.
so she suggests giving him a watch like Grandpa Ben gave to Joe. He says that's not a bad idea, and then says he only got that watch because he was always late. Something that him and comic book Barry, and occasionally this shows Barry have in common, which I thought was kind of funny because they do kind of do that early, which I think in the pilot where he's late, and
Yeah,
then
they
after that
only
they don't really do it that
yeah, they
much.
only do it in the pilot, and that's like a core like character trait of Barry Allen in the comics is just,
Mhm.
oh, fastest man alive, but he's late to literally fucking everything.
I feel like it'd get repetitive and kind of
It
like
would. It
after a
would.
while.
In a show setting, yeah, like over how 9 seasons, it would
Hmm.
get annoying if they just kept doing that. So I kind of get why they got rid of that trait, but I wish they would have kept it for more than just one episode.
Yeah. So, he always gave him gifts with not so hidden meanings. Joe said if he has son, he's only giving him fun presents. This reminds me of how my mom raised me differently than her parents did. And not like any kind of major way, just more like when my mom was growing up, she, because she had obviously like more siblings, so like they struggled a little bit here and there financially, and so
Yeah.
like she had a little bit more money coming in, so she made a point to like, basically you try to do that with like kids, like give them more stuff than what you necessarily had growing up. So just that
Yeah.
kind of thing that felt
Yeah.
very
Like
relatable to me.
I do that with my little niece. She's 3 years old. She just had a birthday just recently, and yeah, I keep getting her cool shit for her birthday because I'm like, if I was three, I would have loved the fuck out of that.
Yeah, definitely be the person, not necessarily this dramatic, but sometimes people say be the person that you wish you had when you were a kid, basically.
Yeah, yeah, pretty much.
Yeah. But he laments he doesn't know why he still wears it, and Iris says because it's from family, and then gets a distant look in her eyes. Joe asks if she's all right, and she lies, promising that she is. Cut to CCPD, and cut to my favorite couple making out in an empty building. This was great, man.
Hey,
This
rephrase that.
whole bit.
Our favorite couple.
Yeah, our favorite flashbacks, favorite couple making out.
Yes.
But yeah,
Yes.
so Patty says they should be more professional, and Barry says she initiated it, and she's fully prepared to reprimand herself. And I was like, it's really cute. And then she's concerned Joe or the captain may walk in. Almost on cue, Iris appears and they get awkward, and Patty makes a lame excuse leaving and says she'll see Iris at Christmas, and then Iris is happy for him. Barry mentions that Wells' message about him not ever truly being happy and thinks with Patty now there might be a way for him to be. This is cut short when he sees how upset Iris looks, and then she goes into it. She can't hold it in anymore. She tells Barry about the secret baby her mom had, Wally West, her brother. She told her mom to leave and never come back, but she feels like keeping a secret is hollowing her out. She's worried telling Joe will kill him, but Barry's convinced that it won't, and they'll tell him together. She seems a bit more hopeful, and Barry notices snow flurries outside, saying maybe it'll be a white Christmas. She says that would be nice. So, like, do you want to talk about Wally here? Or do you want to wait till the end to kind of address
We'll wait
Wally?
until he actually shows up. We'll save that for when he actually pops up on screen, but we'll
Gotcha.
just say I was smiling uncontrollably when they mentioned Wally. I was just like, "Yes, it's
Yeah,
happening." I was like
yeah,
that Michael
definitely.
Scott meme from The Office. It's happening. Oh my God.
Nice. But they cut to Star Labs, fake Jay and Caitlin talking in the lab about using a neutrino burst to seal the portals to keep more metas from coming to the city. Caitlin says like it means a lot you looking out for Barry. He's been through a lot over the last couple weeks. Jay says Barry isn't the only one he wants to keep safe. Cisco cuts in, which I thought was great. Oh dear Lord, just kiss already. Oh, the thirst is real.
Talks like someone from my generation to an extent. Um, I
He's
I
kind
want
of bitter though,
a
right? Like
little bit.
the whole
Well,
thing with
I
Kendra,
mean,
I thought.
yeah, I was gonna say, you remember what happened in the last episode we watched with the whole Kendra thing? I want to point out, did you notice that Jay seems to be wearing an awful lot of black in this episode?
I don't know what you're talking about. I don't know what you
His
mean.
his jacket is a very dark shade of black, and his shirt was black. I'm just like, hmm, interesting. I wonder why.
Is he the Black Power Ranger? Is that what you're saying? I don't
Yes,
understand.
yes, he's the Black Power Ranger.
Twist. I can't like you. Can you imagine?
Tyrannosaurus!
That would be like crazy. I'd be like, you know what? Respect. I didn't see
They
that
just,
coming, but you guys didn't earn this.
dude, nobody fucking saw Batman versus Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles coming, and they still did that shit. They could do Flash X Power Rangers.
Fair.
That would go
Um, I still
hard.
I still gotta read JLA Power Rangers. I've heard it's good.
There's a JLA Power Rangers crossover?
Yeah, it's a comic book. I've heard it's on
Oh,
DC.
yeah, I have heard of this. I think either you, I think you were talking about it on the superhero stuff you should know Discord a while back, I thought, or someone was.
Yeah. I've read the Power Rangers comics. They're pretty good.
Okay. Yeah,
I think that may be what I mentioned.
that could have been, yeah. Or I might have just heard about it from somewhere. Regardless, I know what it is, but yeah, I just haven't read it because that particular incarnation of the Power Rangers doesn't really interest me. I'm not into the whole Mighty Morphin
That's
thing.
fair. But yeah, so he says all is quiet in Central City. He asks if they think Zoom took Christmas off. Jay asks what's Christmas. Caitlin badly explains Christmas before Jay reveals he was just messing with her. He knows what it is, which I thought was funny.
Yeah,
Um,
that was a funny bit.
I would do that shit too if I was from another universe, to
I
be
so
fair.
would as well. I would just be
Yeah.
trolling and rage baiting everyone.
Yeah, I'm back. I don't know what that is. But Caitlin awkwardly invites Jay to the West's Christmas party since they can invite anyone. Cisco says this is painful and asks if they've seen Harry. She says no. She told him to rest. Cisco's gonna go find Harry. He doesn't have to look too hard because he's right behind him as he turns towards the exit. It scares Cisco. He goes, "Holy Hannah," and says
Holy
hi.
Hannah.
And Harry deadpan says hi back. Like I'm not gonna bother looking this up, but that just seemed like a weird Ciscoism, basically.
I think so, because I think that's the only time I have ever heard anybody use the word Holy Hannah is with Cisco.
Yeah, it's just a weird Cisco
It's
line. But
funny.
yeah. He asks if everything is okay, and Harry deadpan goes, "Sure, why wouldn't it be?" Which Cisco repeats with a smirk. Cut to Iron Heights prison as the snow is turning into a downpour as the wind howls. Two guards talk inside. One says it's really coming down and that the weather didn't say anything about snow. The other says maybe it's a Christmas miracle. Just then the windows burst and snow pours in, knocking over one of the guards. Weather Wizard burst a door open next to where the other guard was stationed at the control panel. He says let it snow and knocks the other guard down before he can call for backup. Cut to him walking through the prison as alarms blare and snow blasts around him. He breaks cold out and they continue down a long hallway as Weather Wizard looks over building blueprints. Captain Cold says, "Don't mean to be a nooge, but the exit is upstairs." So I had to actually look this up. So Nuge means to pester or to nag at someone who does
Oh,
that. Yeah, and so like I didn't know that. So learning like at some of the stuff, I'm like, let me look this up, you know?
yeah. So I do that a lot with other shows too. I'm just like, what the hell did they say? Particularly like really sciencey TV shows, like really sciencey science fiction shows. I'm like, there's no way that's real. So I look it up and I'm like, God damn, I am stupid. Um,
Yeah,
yeah,
it's always
this
learning new stuff, you
yeah.
know?
Yeah, this whole team up here, by the way, is like my favorite team up, especially with the upcoming character we're about to meet.
Yeah. He says he just needs one more thing as they head to the maximum security ward. They head into the Trickster's cell area. He has some art on his wall of him killing the Flash as he eats a Twizzler. Cold isn't a fan of this, saying he has to be kidding him. Trickster says it's beginning to look a lot like Christmas. I forgot Hamill was in this episode.
So
Uh,
did I.
he so Trickster in the old 90s show is definitely like kind of Joker like, but that's just because of Hamill's performance slash how they kind of play him a little bit
Yeah.
too. In this show, they're basically like I feel like with each appearance they're like, why don't we lean a little bit more into him basically being our version of Joker for this?
He literally is, though. But hey, rightfully so. You get Mark Hamill on board, you're gonna get that. He also voices the Trickster in Justice League.
Well, yeah, because that's the other thing too. Because I think even in his last appearance, he wasn't wearing anything necessarily Trickster like. Like he was just wearing a suit. And in this
No.
one, like it's even more so Joker like because he's literally like. We'll get to it, but there are some very Joker like moments coming up
Oh
in this
yeah.
episode.
I had a note about one of them that's coming up here.
Yeah. So cut back to the prison as Barry and Joe walk through the same hallway we saw the rogues in earlier. He says to Joe, "Please tell me this is not happening." Joe, "It's official. Santa hates this." He says. I like that too. He says that Weather Wizard took out the security cameras and systems, and luckily no one was killed, but there's no trace of the three rogues. He mentions with Weather Wizard back on the scene, Patty might not be thinking so clearly since he killed her dad. Barry apparently didn't know about that, which I'm kind of surprised by. You think Joe might have mentioned it off to the side at some point?
Yeah, I could have sworn maybe I was thinking of her telling Joe, but I thought she told him in a previous episode, so I was just like, huh? What do you mean
I
he
mean,
doesn't know?
props though for like keeping that like partner confidentiality and like, like it's her secret basically and only really
Yeah.
came up when it absolutely had to.
Yeah, it was like when she was, if that hadn't gotten out before that moment, she would have told him when she was ready, or maybe she just would have kept it a secret.
Yeah, who knows? But cut to Patty examining the frozen area where Trickster was broken out of by her dad's killer. You can tell, you can definitely see the anger in her eyes. Patty, we should have expected this. Just then, Joe and Barry walk in. She wants to be all business, but Barry mentions that Joe told him. She goes, "I can't talk to you about this." She says that he's a really sweet guy, but he doesn't even like know what's going on in the city or what she recently discovered with like Harrison Wells. But then she kind of cuts herself off and she says she doesn't have time to bring him up to speed, and she turns to leave. Barry mumbles to himself that that's ironic. He stops her, saying he cares about her a lot and he doesn't want her to get reckless. She barks back that she's a cop and going after criminals is in her job description and isn't reckless. Powers or not, Martin will answer for what he's done. She walks away. And then we find out more about this warehouse or what the name of it is soon. It's actually relevant. But cut to a warehouse as Trickster sings a dark version of Deck the Halls. Trickster messes with some toys, and Cold says he doesn't remember those being the lyrics. And Trickster says he's really creative, and Weather Wizard says he hopes so. He didn't break either one of them out to make new friends. Cold asks why he did. He said he owed him one, and Trickster is crazy and says it's a compliment, and they all want the same thing, he says. And he's like to see the Flash dead. But before that, Cold asks sarcastically if it was for fashion advice, which I thought was kind of funny.
Did you also, by the way, when Trickster, again, this is due to the Jokerisms in his performance, but did you get flashbacks to Christmas with the Joker where he's like,
Oh,
"Jingle
totally.
bells, Batman smells." That's why I put in the lyric in the notes. I was like, "Isn't that the lyrics of Jingle Bells?" Like all that stuff. Yeah, that was hilarious. Gave me huge Joker vibes there.
Definitely. Yeah, I definitely got those vibes. There, like I said, there are some other moments in here too where I was just like, oh wow. But so Trickster says killing him was more of a New Year's resolution, but says he's flexible. Again, very Joker-like line right
Yeah.
there.
Killing Batman's a New Year's resolution, but I'm flexible. My
Yeah, I
Joker
like that.
impression is ass.
Nah, it's better than what I could do. Cold says what makes this time any different from like basically in terms of their odds, and Weather Wizard goes 3 against 1, and the Flash isn't what he once was, and mention how Zoom broke him in front of the whole city. Weather Wizard thinks he's weak and vulnerable. Cold says it's a mistake to underestimate him. I kind of like that. You kind of get like even here, and it kind of is shown a little bit later that Cold weirdly, kind not even weirdly, he kind of respects the Flash a little bit.
Yeah. Yeah, and we've seen that in previous episodes too, because he literally knows who the Flash is, and he
Mhm.
hasn't told anyone as far as we know yet. So
Yeah,
he's very
definitely.
respectable.
Yeah. He's convinced with their combined power they can kill him. Cold wants to hear a plan. He wants like basically and then like Weather Wizard's like he wants to hear he's on board, questioning if he's soft after being in jail. Cold draws his gun and Weather Wizard powers up, both of them like gearing up for a standoff. Trickster defuses it, saying they should all go out commit crimes and they'd all feel better. They relent, and Weather Wizard asks what Cold's decision is he in or out? Cut to Star Labs. So Cisco is formulating a plan, and after Cisco basically reaches his conclusion, Barry has repeated everything he said with his idea of a weather wand. He asks if he's done this before, and Barry says yes and tells him about how Cisco did that in the timeline from last season that Barry fixed where the city was flooded. Harry, like basically the one that didn't work out quite the way they wanted it
Yeah.
to. Basically, he
Yeah, did
made the
you
weather wand.
notice, by the way, that the weather wand is literally just the hilt of a fucking lightsaber? Like,
Well,
it
think
looks
who
like a
the star
lightsaber.
is. Think who the
Okay,
star is of
true.
this. That was
Very,
on
very true.
purpose.
Very true. I literally just now put that connection together because it's weird. In my brain, when I think of Mark Hamill, I don't think Star Wars. I just think the Joker. like I know he's Luke Skywalker because I've seen Star Wars, but it's like I think of Joker first, then Luke Skywalker. But now in yeah, remembering that blatantly obvious, I am just
Yeah.
I just thought it was hilarious that I'm like, ain't no way, that's just a fucking lightsaber.
Well, especially at the time, because you got to think about it. Like, he was, like, this was the time of the sequel trilogy, like, near
Oh
this time.
God, yeah.
Yeah. And so, like, that's why he was only able to be on certain episodes, especially later. Didn't really pop up. 'Cause he was busy with
That's
those Star Wars
right.
movies.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's right. I forgot about those movies.
Yeah. So Harry says he shouldn't have messed with the timeline. Cisco silently agrees. Barry goes, that's what the other Wells said. Barry says the good news is it worked in the other timeline, so he just has to do it again for the first time. And Cisco says, like, yeah, no pressure.
It's like, well, you already kind of, well, actually, no, he doesn't know it works because he never tested it in the original timeline.
Yeah. True. Jay is gonna help him, like best of both worlds, Cisco says. Barry asks if Harry is good, and he goes, yeah, why wouldn't he be? Caitlin theorizes it's the holiday blues since Zoom still has his daughter. Barry agrees and dismisses himself. He has something to deal with. Iris and Barry are meeting Joe to tell him back at CCPD, like the whole thing we mentioned earlier.
Yeah.
He notices something's wrong with the somber feel of the room and says last time they looked like that is when they told him they took his convertible and wrapped it around a tree on Fairmont Drive, which I
God
thought was pretty
damn.
funny. I'm like, I
Yeah,
can't
that
even
was.
picture. If anything, it probably had to be Iris because there's no way I can picture like Goody Two Shoes Barry ever
Nah,
being on board with like driving a convertible around. Like she
nah.
had to talk him into it
Yeah,
probably.
he'd be the guy that's like, I don't know, Iris, I don't think we should be doing this. Like Joe's gonna be pissed, and she's like, ah, screw him, it'll be fine. Fucking
Yeah,
wraps it around a tree.
yeah. Iris takes the lead and tells him through tears about the secret baby named Wally. Joe says it's short for Wallace. It was what she would be named had she been a boy. Joe is so sad and he asks if he lives. She says yes, and that's the reason she reached out after all these years. Wife Francine did. And then she apologizes, saying she's only known for a few weeks. She wanted them to know before she died. Joe says he has to get to work and apologizes to Iris, saying just let him sit with it. And yeah, like it's honestly like that's about like I didn't think he was gonna be furious with her because like to be fair, they both have secrets, and also it's one of those things too where like there's no real like perfect time to say, hey, you have like this secret kid you were not aware of
Yeah.
at all.
Yeah, plus Joe's not fucking Henry Allen. So, I
He's not a
mean,
deadbeat. Yeah,
yeah,
exactly.
that he wouldn't get upset with that. My notes here for this part also said every time I hear the name Francine, I think of Man-Bat's wife in Batman because it's like
She only
the
appears in like one episode, I think, right?
of yeah, she's only in the Man-Bat episode, but she's
Yeah,
also she's also in Arkham Knight, which whole
that's
conversation for a
true.
different day, but she's in Arkham Knight. She's not in any Lego stuff, surprisingly. So,
Poor Francine in that
uh,
version, man. That sucks. I was just thinking about
yeah,
that.
there's the, doesn't, isn't that the one where she becomes like the female version of Man-Bat, or she like
In
goes
Arkham Knight?
fucking insane? Yeah,
Arkham Knight, she's dead.
that's right, she is. Yeah, no, I was thinking
Delayed? No,
of,
no, sorry. The Zoom made it like a delayed reaction, like it just blew your mind or something. So like there
no,
was like a weird delay where I was like, she's dead. And you're like, yeah, that's right.
no, yeah, I was thinking of a in that Kirk escapes. Like if you play the game on
Yeah.
Halloween, Kirk escapes. That's what I was thinking of. But yeah, I don't know why, because she's like mainly just a one-off throwaway character. She's not even in the Batman 2004 when they do Man-Bat.
I think in the comics they make her like lady, like there's like a lady version of No,
Yeah.
it's in the show. It's in BTAS. They make like
Oh shit.
yeah, I forgot. Yeah, they make like a man bat, but it's not a man bat, it's like a woman bat because it's like her as
Yeah.
like man bat basically. I remember that now. That's like a
Huh.
later episode.
Huh. Yeah, I had heard of that, but I had always just assumed it was in comics because I had never heard it in reference to animated series. I may have to
As far
check
as
that
I
out.
know, yeah. Cut back to the West household as Iris and Barry enter. She asks if he thinks like Joe will be okay, and Barry does. He just needs time to process it, but they have an intruder. Cold sits by a chair near the fire and says ho ho ho. He's also drinking from a Christmas mug, which I found hilarious.
Yeah,
And
I love Snart in this show. He's genuinely my favorite, my second favorite villain of the series because my favorite villain's Thawne, but Snart's a close second. This dude is terrifying.
definitely. So he says, Coco isn't Coco without the mini marshmallows, and you're out. I checked. Barry pins him to the wall, saying, is he out of his mind and breaking into their home? This reminds me of when Joker broke into Harvey's home in the Long Halloween comic. Do you remember
Yes,
that?
yes, I do. That's one of my favorite parts of the Long Halloween. I don't know how I didn't draw that connection till just now.
I
Oh
don't think
my
they do it in
God.
the animated version
Yeah, they
either. And
do.
it's like
They do.
oh, they do?
Yeah,
It's
'cause
so
it's
funny in that comic though, where
oh
he's just like, oh, this light won't light right on the tree, like quoting the Grinch. He's like, you get out of my house. Like he starts like running after him.
yeah, yeah. And he like does he like beat the shit out of Harvey in that or he tries to?
I don't even know. I just remember that comedic moment and just finding it hilarious.
Dude, yeah. Genuinely, I love The Long Halloween, one of my favorite Batman stories, but that part is so goddamn funny. The Joker in that was like peak comedy.
Yeah,
Because there's
definitely.
not funny stuff in that book, really. It's just like really somber and honestly quite depressing. So I think
Yeah.
the Joker, until Robin's introduced in the sequel, the Joker was the only way for that universe to kind of have levity and humor.
Definitely. So Cold cautions him, saying he made an upgrade to the Cold gun. If he releases his hand, the core goes critical. Flash might make it, but Iris won't. Cold compliments her writing, and she goes, "Who needs a Pulitzer when you have a homicidal maniac seal of approval?" He says, "Didn't Barry tell you I had a rough childhood?" And then I kind of like that she said everyone did in this room, like get over it, because like that's actually also like kind of a real moment. She's just like
Yeah,
that's what that character would say, but then also it kind of goes to the broader thing of like some people use like their either rough childhood or like sometimes other things they're going through as an excuse for bad behavior. And it's like, no,
yeah,
everybody goes through that. You're not like a child, like grow up, basically.
yeah. It's like using it as a child. I wouldn't say it's okay, but like I get it at that point. You
No,
use it.
I'm saying when you're grown up. I'm saying when you're grown
Oh,
up, that's
okay.
what more what
Yeah.
I'm saying.
Yeah. Yeah. When you're grown up doing it, that's just, no, that's not okay.
Yeah, yeah, because it's just like, oh, I had a rough childhood. That's why I'm being a dick. It's like, no, come on, man.
No, you're
But
just a dick. That's why you're being a dick.
yeah. So Barry cuts to the chase and asks why he's there. He warns them about Trickster and Weather Wizard's plan to kill him, but he says he isn't interested. Barry asks where they are, and he won't tell. He's more of a secret Santa. He says he's full of it and mentions how they saved his sister, and he can't stand owing them, and that's honor. Cold says he like basically go ahead and make your pitch. Like he's like, see, you're dying to do it. He says, help him stop them, and Cold passes, saying he's not interested in being a hero. Barry says he's doing a pretty lousy job of being a villain this week. And then he says Merry Christmas, Barry, and leaves. So like this is during that time when obviously we've had a little bit of setup for this before. Sorry, lights
What
flickered.
the
But
fuck? I was like, I noticed that on your camera. I was like, are you good?
as far as I know, my electricity is fine. I'll let you know if something happens,
Shit.
but
All right. It fucking did it
it might
again.
just be the light. I think maybe the light is dimming because
Oh,
yeah, it's probably just the light. But we'll just ignore it unless something
yeah.
happens. But so cut back to Star. Anyway, no, we didn't finish our thoughts. So
No, yeah.
anyway, I think it's kind of like a Legends setup basically for that. Like
Yeah.
that's the vibe I got basically.
Yeah, that's the vibe I got too, is like, oh, I'm not interested in the whole hero thing. Well, cut to Legends of Tomorrow with fucking 4 seasons and Snart is on the poster for it on Netflix.
Yeah, definitely. So cut back to Star Labs. Joe and Barry talk at the entrance of the pipeline. He relates a story about how he had this feeling something was wrong with Iris, and when he called the nurse, Iris like appendix had burst. He said he has this sixth sense with his kids, so why not his son? Barry says it wasn't his fault he didn't know about him. Joe is convinced it was, and he should have done something. He should have somehow pulled her back and tried harder, but Barry says like he was protecting Iris and Joe like from like the stuff with Francine. He says he's been telling himself that for 20 years. He says it was a lie. It wasn't protecting her, it was protecting himself. He couldn't help her and couldn't stand that, so it was easier for her to be dead and out of their lives. He said it wasn't for Iris and he was being selfish. He says that poor boy paid the price. He never had a father to do all the great things dads do and make him feel safe and loved. Who taught him how to be a man, Barry? Him. I can't even say his name. What have I done? Barry tells him he has been there for him every day and would have done the exact same thing for him if he could have. And like that's the thing is like and I've been rewatching a little bit of Arrow recently, like the first season, and I'm like, I know Lance is the OG, but like Joe is like such like a selfless, like caring, like, guy, and I'm like, even this, like something he had no control over. That's some Superman level stuff where you're
Oh
sitting there
yeah.
being like, how could I possibly not know about this thing I couldn't know about, have any control about, but I still feel terrible about, basically,
Yeah.
like that kind of
It's
vibe.
like that's how I feel like Clark would feel about Superboy. And I feel like
Yeah.
he does sometimes, just not in Young Justice.
Yeah, well,
Not at
that's a
first.
whole nother thing, like you said.
Yeah.
Yeah. But so cut to CCPD, seeing as Patty where her partner is, and she says she doesn't know she isn't his babysitter before realizing who she was speaking to and apologizes, saying she
Thanks.
doesn't know where he is. Just then, Trickster hacks onto the TV screen and starts singing a Flash version of Rudolph. Cut to Star Labs as they watch Trickster. Jay says they don't have a Trickster on Earth too, and Caitlin says he's one of a kind. That's a lie though, because we see later on with the real Jay, like we see a moment
Yeah.
later.
Yeah, that's what I was just thinking. I was like, wait a minute. I distinctly remember this one moment from like season 3 or whatever. Maybe it's later
I
in
can
2.
I can write it off though, like fan justification. That's not the real Jay, and so maybe he
Yeah.
doesn't know about all his villains, basically.
Yeah. Yeah, that's kind of what I chalked it up to. Yeah. Was the other Joker moment you were thinking of this where he like
Yeah, yeah.
hacks
I'm
all the
I'm
TV?
I'm actually about to get into it. That's my
Okay.
next note. So the whole him delivering a threat over the TV gives me BTAS Christmas with the Joker vibes, like you said earlier, as well
Yep.
as the old Flash show where the Ghost did the same thing. So like the Ghost in like obviously the stuff we mentioned earlier with him hacking into the TV and the
Yeah.
very like Christmas themed stuff like Christmas with the Joker, like that whole thing. But
Yeah.
in the old Flash show, there was a character called the Ghost and he would hack in and say, "Good evening, Central City. This is the Ghost. I'm controlling your television." And like you basically
Hmm.
like he would make a threat and then like go off the air. Like I'll show you some clips later, but like he
All
was
right.
the villain of like Nightshade, who was kind of like a Sandman type villain in the original 90s Flash
Huh.
show. Yeah, he
Interesting.
he even looked like him. The creators of the show were comic book fans and they kind of styled him after the classic Sandman and everything with the whole mask
Wow.
and everything. Yeah, it was
Damn.
cool.
Kind of the description you just gave of that. You ever see The Incredibles 2?
The movie?
Yeah.
Yeah, I've seen that.
The screen slaver, the like
Oh,
villain
I
that
could see
hacked all
that.
the TV. That's what that reminded me of. That's just where my brain went because I love The
Yeah.
Incredibles. I was just like, sounds very screen slaver.
Yeah, well, this guy's just a guy. Like, he just looks like a normal dude. Like, he kind of looks like a Flash Gordon type, like the Ghost villain. Like, he's
Oh,
got like kind of a
okay.
suit like that. But the superhero Nightshade kind of has like that sort of look to him. And there's we'll talk off mic later, but there's some other
All right.
cool episodes too. Trickster invites Flash out to a fight. CCPD tactical units are on high alert, Singh says, to get in touch with other precincts. So like he's basically just sending out like mobilizing everybody.
Yeah.
He calls for Spivot, but she's gone. Team Flash examines the video, trying to figure out its location. Jay notices a reflection in the cornea, like of Trickster, that Harry identifies as a stuffed bear, Mr. Jiggle Wiggle. He gave one to his daughter when she was 6. The toy was made by Okamaru or Okamura. How did they say that again? Okamaru,
I
right?
can't remember. I think it's Okamaru. Yeah.
I'm just gonna say Okamaru. Okamaru Toys, which is the warehouse, but also Okamaru Toys. So that name is a reference to Hiro Okamaru, a teenage Japanese version of Toy Man who was a hero.
Oh,
Yeah, he was a hero and ally of Superman. I know him from the first Batman Superman trade
yeah.
paperback.
Yeah. Well, I know him from
Public
the
Enemies. Yeah,
animated
that's
movie.
that's what I'm talking about. The comic
Okay.
book also had him in there. Public
Oh,
Enemies.
cool. Yeah, where he makes a very sus joke about Power Girl and then you just see like his glasses shatter.
Yeah, it was early 2000s, you know.
Yeah.
Anyway, so that's where
Ugh.
the rogues are at the abandoned shipping warehouse. Cisco asks what if Weather Wizard is there and the wand's not finished, and Barry says the Trickster is, which I kind of like. Cut to said warehouse. Patty is on the move with gun drawn and flashlight. Flash asks what she's doing there, and she says same thing as him, trying to catch a murderer. Just then, a creepy doll starts playing the dreidel song, and Trickster says he's made the incoming multiple tiny dreidels out of C4. They encircle both Patty and the Flash. There's no way for them to go. Flash tells Patty to hold him, and she does before saying she's seeing someone. He's like, "I am too," and then to not let go. He whirlwinds them up in the air as the ground explodes below them. He lands outside the exploded warehouse where with Patty as she walks away, saying it was all a trap for him. So like. I originally thought that this scene might have gone differently, and I don't know why I thought this, but for some reason I thought he was just gonna vibrate down instead of using like the whirlwind like hands
Yeah,
maybe.
I could see that. I could see that for sure. I
But then the
honestly,
debris would go down, so it kind of makes sense that
yeah.
he would go up.
Yeah, it again to bring this up, I brought this up with you over DMs this like subject, but Justice
Hmm.
League Mortal has a scene similar to that where he's like saving firefighters and he uses the whirlwind power to like make them come down safer from like their fall and stuff. So that's what that reminded me of. I was like, "Oh, hey, cool. We finally get to see that."
Yeah, nice. So the bad guys are still on the loose. She interestingly only mentions Weather Wizard and Trickster, but not Cold. Flash asks how she knew to go there, and she got the same clue because her dad got her the same toy, but cuts off saying it doesn't matter. He asks if that's why she came alone with no backup is because of her father, and she says he doesn't know anything about her, which is like fair.
Yeah.
Um, he says she's being reckless and the people who care about her wouldn't want her to get hurt. She says Martin didn't kill her father, but she, like, basically she did. And he had a little shoe shop and they didn't have any money, so she worked there after school, except one day she decided not to show up because she was being stupid and silly with her friends. It's just funny she said stupid and silly.
Yeah,
Like,
that
it's
line of dialogue, I was like, that you could have chosen different words there. That felt kind of out of place for a
you should have
dramatic
just said I was
scene.
being like stupid with my friends. Like
Yeah,
that's all
or
he
I was
said.
being a dumbass or something.
Yeah, with her friends, and she didn't even call to tell him that she was ditching, so he brought the deposits to the bank instead of her. He was shot and killed by Martin, not her. Flash says that's why she became a cop and joined the Metahuman Task Force. She says it'll be legal when she kills Martin. She made her whole life about getting justice for her father, and even at the expense of having a life. And this kind of reminds me of like Batman and other people like this that
Yeah.
just like throw their life away just to dedicate it. And throw your life away is a strong thing, but that
Yeah.
you can't have a life and also do this stuff. And I think that's something that like a lot of these like hero, like superhero things overlook. It's like they're not happy people. Like it's just
No.
like to an extent, like yes, like they have moments of happiness, but it's not an overall like net happiness existence.
Yeah.
There's
And
sacrifice involved.
yeah, I think the one that like illustrates that the most and does like a clear job of portraying that is Batman because
Hmm.
Batman is almost never happy. There are moments of, like you say, moments of happiness in his
Yeah.
life, but he is not overall a happy individual. That does not happen with Batman. He cannot have that because to him that's weakness.
Yeah, definitely. Like, and now she met a really great guy. She's talking obviously about Barry, and that doesn't even feel real to her. She's scared he'll find out about how angry she is. Now would be the time to tell her, Barry. She doesn't know
Yeah.
why she's telling him all this. I'm like, bro, now would be the time. She would be mad, but at least then, like, it would be one of those like level the playing field, basically.
Yeah, but unfortunately behind the scenes bullshit was going on,
We'll
so
definitely get into that whenever that comes around. We're kind of saving that for
yeah,
later.
that's some dumbass stuff that was
Yeah.
going on.
But yeah, sometimes it's easier to say something to someone with no face, is what he says back, and he's right. I don't know if you've ever had that too, but like sometimes, like when you're going through stuff, it's easier to tell someone who doesn't really know you that well versus someone who's like more connected to it. That's why therapists, I guess, work too, is because someone
Yeah.
that's completely not connected to anything, so you can kind of just spill stuff and they don't know anyone you're talking about, and so it's kind of freeing. You don't have that baggage of being like, well, I can't tell you this because you know this person, basically.
Yeah, yeah, and funnily enough, that happens with like my parents and my friends, because my friends
Mhm.
don't know my parents that well. So if I'm just like, oh, fucking, they're pissing me off, and it's like
Yeah.
they don't know my parents that well, so I don't have any stake in telling them this shit, because they don't come over here all that much.
Yeah, definitely. So she thanks him for saving her. Flash said even if she gets him, it doesn't make things better. And he would know. They're very much like Batman Forever. It's just like what if you go out into the like you take him out and then like you find another face and another and another and then like you
And
find
what
out
a
your whole
terrible
life.
night.
Yeah, you'll wake up and realize your whole life has been like dedicated to that
Yeah,
basically. Yeah.
yeah, that's one of my favorite scenes from Batman Forever. I love that moment.
Amazing scene. But Patty says it has to be better than this. Barry removes his mask, revealing his sad face as Patty drives off. I'm just picturing like realistically, imagine she just turned back to like Barry. Like
Yeah, she would have seen that because, like, you have to check behind you when you're pulling out of a car. So she would have seen that and been like, wait, what the fuck?
if this was a different kind of show, it would like have a moment where she like you just hear her off screen like, "You gotta be fucking kidding me" or something like that. Like she's
That
pissed.
that would be some Young Justice type shit because they start doing that in the third season where they have a lot of characters talking off screen.
Oh yeah, save budget. But so cut back to Star Labs as Barry leaves another of what I'm sure is many voicemails as he's worried about Patty and only wants her to call him back. The wand is done. Barry tells Caitlin like Patty is hiding a lot of pain behind her smile. She quips couples start to resemble each other after a while. He says she only opened up to Flash, not to him, so even if he could get her on the phone, he wouldn't know what to say. So, like, do you think there's some truth to this? Like, Barry being, like, happy all the time and stuff, or seemingly happy, is him hiding a lot of pain behind that? Like, do you find that true as well?
I think to an extent, yes, but that's not all of his. Like Barry, like we were talking about earlier, unlike Batman, Barry Allen can be happy. Like he
Yeah.
is in the comics. He's married. He has kids at one point. Then his kids have kids. It Barry Allen is one happy motherfucker, at least in the comics. In this show, he seems to be quite happy. I don't think all of it is him masking trauma, but I'd say a good 50-60% of it is.
Yeah, he's not like Spider-Man. That's
No.
more of a Spider-Man thing,
Or
I would
like
feel like.
Deadpool. Like Deadpool
Oh,
is
yeah,
just
yeah.
his whole thing is tragedy behind the comedy. So,
Yeah, yeah,
but
like
yeah,
the sad
Spider-Man
clown,
as well.
basically.
Yeah, Spider-Man as well. Yeah, I talked about that on the most recent TISMO Talks episode, but yeah, definitely
Nice.
I would say like 60-50% of Barry's like humor comes from the trauma and then the other half doesn't.
Yeah. So, Caitlin says it's been her experience that just being around him can be a big help. Cut to a skating rink as kids are lined up for Trickster in a Santa disguise. He hands the kid a present, saying not to open it until tomorrow. It's a surprise. Cut to Star Labs as Zoom appears out of a breach to Harry asking if he's decided. He needs more time. Zoom says, don't we all say, like, basically, like, don't we all? Says decide. Harry repeats what he said. He threatens to go up there and kill a few more of his new friends, and Harry says no. He has one more day. He'll tell his daughter he said hello. He goes back into the breach. They pinpoint Weather Wizard's location where we saw Trickster earlier at the tree lighting ceremony. He grabs the wand. Weather Wizard is making a storm on top of the roof of a skyscraper as Flash arrives. He asks Flash's opinion on how he should kill the citizens down there, and Flash says neither for like either option. Before he dives off the roof, Weather Wizard is using the wind gust to fly. And I noticed your line, like basically that Star Wars sequel line of,
They
"Oh, they
fly
fly
now?
now." They fly now, but
Oh
yeah.
my God. Yeah, that's what that made me think of because I saw that as a meme like a while ago because I don't remember those sequel movies. I haven't gone back to watch them in years.
Episode
Uh
7 is still solid from
oh
my
yeah,
memory.
Force Awakens I remember being really good, but I was just scrolling through like Instagram or TikTok just finding random memes and then I found one of Finn going, "They fly now? They fly now." And I'm just like, "Oh, that's perfect to put in my notes here. That would be a funny meme on the show."
Yeah, totally. But Jay yells for Barry to get him. Cue cool chase scene where Barry's feet bounce off of two rotating helicopter blades. That was like really cool. I liked
That was
that.
fucking sick.
Yeah, I'm continuously impressed by what the VFX crew is
Oh
able
yeah.
to pull off in this show. Like, good job, guys.
Yeah, especially like after our interview with them and like kind of knowing what was like with their budgets and stuff behind the scenes, it's like, wow, that looks
Yeah,
great.
that's
Probably also
impressive.
because it's at nighttime, so you can't
Yeah,
really
that
see it as
helps.
much.
Helps mask some of it. But yeah, so cut to the ground as he forces Weather Wizard to violently land in the square with like the wand. As crowds run away, he says, "You really think I'd let you hurt all these people?" And he says, "No, but he'll basically you'll let me hurt you," is what Weather Wizard says. Weather Wizard tells him that him and Trickster have given out 100 bombs to kids around the city and that there's no way he'll find them all. Flash pleads for them not to do it. He gives his ultimatum: let Weather Wizard kill him publicly or have all that blood on his hands. He hands him the wand and he hits him with an ice ball, knocking him back. Team Flash comes up with a plan. Harry says they'll use breaches to get rid of them, just they need to find the one. He's gonna use Cisco's drone to help him do this. Cisco and him go in the van with Jay. Cut back to Flash. He gets knocked around some more. Jay, Cisco, and Harry drive in the van and pinpoint a house. Harry knocks on the door. And a kid like answers it. He demands the toys from the kid, which I found was really funny. It's like, give me your give me
Give
your
me all your
presents.
toys
Give me
now.
all your toys. That's what he said. Like I thought that was great.
Yeah, that was
Uh,
hilarious.
Cut back to Flash still getting his ass kicked. Cut back to the van as Harry pulls a circular bomb from the gift box. Cisco asks what the plan is, and Harry says one of the 52 breaches opened by the Singularity is a quarter mile directly above the city, and that they're going to use his drone to put the bomb into that breach. It'll use basic physics, magnetism. Magnets of opposite poles attract one another. Cisco is slow on the uptake, and I kind of was too. So Harry asks Jay for help clarifying. Jay says if he can change the dimensional frequency of the bomb and get it through that breach, it'll drag all the rest of the bombs along with it. They activate the drone with the bomb, cut back to Weather Wizard telling Trickster he's done, and it's his turn to beat the Flash to death. Trickster, delusional as always, says when he kills the Flash, they'll realize he's the one who saved the city. Uh, which I'm just like, that's feeding into like his whole stuff. But cut back to
Yeah.
Sitsko and the crew looking on as the drone goes towards the now open breach. It enters, and we see a bunch of presents being sucked into the void. The bombs are gone. Cisco tells Flash. Flash ties Trickster up with Christmas lights and beats up Weather Wizard, taking him down with the wand. Cisco, how you like the magnets, bitch? Like
How you like the magnets, bitch?
that was such a random line.
Yeah, I mean it was funny, but yeah, it was random. Little piece of trivia for you that I remembered about halfway through your notes. The
Mm,
guy who plays Weather Wizard in this, if it
mm.
ever comes out, is going to be the voice of Wolverine in Insomniac's Wolverine video game.
Oh wow, he kind of looks like if he was a little shorter, maybe he looks like he'd be like a decent
Oh yeah.
I'm gonna try to be as nice as I can, like a TV's version of Wolverine.
Yeah,
Basically, if they did like a live action TV series version
I
of
could see it.
yeah Wolverine, they Legion actually had a
What the fuck is
version
Legion?
of Legion is we'll get into this kind of later, but Legion is a X-Men show that had like Charles Xavier's child in it that had like this like crazy power named David. And at one point you meet a younger Charles Xavier that can walk basically and
What the
like
hell?
he helps him through his trauma. Like it's actually like really well done, and the actor they got to play a young Professor X actually did an amazing job. I was kind of impressed. I'll send you
Shit,
some
I'm
clips
guessing it
later.
wasn't James McAvoy.
No, but they kind of do allude. At first, it's just like because I think at first they weren't going to cast someone, but then towards the end they kind of had. It's an amazing series, but they had to they kind of show Professor X like bald but in shadow at first, and then they
Yeah.
kind of do the thing where eventually they cast someone, but he's against like the Shadow King a lot in that show.
Hmm.
Yeah, but
So
it's great.
like the whole Titans thing with Batman, where it's like, oh, you don't see Batman until the random episode that was the first episode of season two, but was meant to be the last of season one, where we get this fucking 70-year-old dude who you could never believe was Batman.
Oh, you're talking about Titans. I thought you were talking about the old cartoon Teen Titans where it
No,
was
no, no,
like
no.
very vague, because that also fits with that where you only get vague references to Batman in that.
Yeah, unless you subscribe to the theory I do, where you think the Batman 2004 is the Batman from that Robin fought beside on Teen
Yeah.
Titans, but that's a different topic.
Yeah. So Patty arrives with the other police and uses a device to anchor Flash to the ground as she aims a gun at Weather Wizard, saying this is for her father. Flash tries to talk her down, but it's not working. Weather Wizard taunts her, saying she doesn't have it in her. She'll go to jail, and he says Martin can't take anything else from him unless she lets him. He says he didn't know her dad, but knows he wouldn't want this. She decides to arrest him instead. This whole thing kind of gave me vibes of the Batman, where it's just like he's taken everything. It's just like, or like he needs to pay. It's like, but you've paid enough. Basically,
Yeah.
is what Batman says to her in that movie. Kind of gave me vibes of that.
Yeah, with him and Selena when they're talking about Falcone.
Yeah, such a good scene. But
Yeah, that's
cut
great.
Yeah, cut back to Star Labs. Joe tells Barry the talk with Francine went well. He needed to forgive her. He says now there's room for another West. He hasn't met him yet and he doesn't know, but that'll come. Barry and Joe are so happy about him having a son. Joe also, speaking of this, takes his hand, like basically, and hands Barry the watch and says he always said one day he'd give it to his son, and now he has, which I thought was great. Like such a great moment,
Yeah.
man.
Yeah,
Great
and
stuff.
in that moment I made a note that just said Wally's not in this. Fuck. But we'll get to that in a second because I
It's
have
like whoa,
another
whoa, whoa, hold on.
I know I have another funny note about Wally that I'm sure you've seen, but
Oh yeah,
it
it's
made
all
me
yeah,
yeah, it makes me laugh now going back to read it because I'm like, well, shit, was I dumb?
yeah. They hug it and wish each other Merry Christmas and say they love each other. He'll see him at the house. Barry delivers a monologue to Harry, who stands in for Wells here, like he's behind like a display glass, in his head, where he mentions the him never truly being happy thing, and says despite trying and all of the happy things, he still has Wells in his heart and how much he hates him for what he's done. He doesn't want to hate him anymore. He can't, and says he forgives him. Harry knows him and asks if he needs something. He says no and invites him to the Christmas party. Harry says it's a nice offer, but he can't celebrate without his daughter. I liked this whole scene. This was kind of nice for him to get this closure and finally being like, I forgive you, I'm moving forward, basically, which is really
Yeah.
nice to see.
Yeah, because it's like we're over Thawne now. Like, yeah, sure, we still kind of have Wells here, but it's a different Wells. We're on to new things. So it's like
Yeah.
Barry, it's about damn time he moved on, is what I'm saying.
Yeah, and maybe also seeing seeing his, dad, I'm gonna call him his dad at this point, like forgiving Francine, it kind of maybe pushed him along the way of being like, well, if he can do that, then I can do this,
Yeah.
basically. Yeah. But cut to the West House as the party's going off. Team Flash is there and having fun. Jay helps Caitlin hang the mistletoe and repeats the gag from earlier about not knowing what it is, and he mentions a tradition they have there. They kiss, and Joe says, "Oh," and Cisco says, "Finally," which I thought was like,
Smooth, Garrick.
yeah, very smooth. Patty arrives and apologizes to Barry, says she's been dealing with something by herself. She says she wants to share it with him. She thinks she's ready to. He says that would be the best gift he could get. She says it's as sweet as this sweet sweater that she got him, and they got matching ones as like basically they kiss each other, which I thought was like really cute.
Yeah.
this couple, man.
And
Um,
this is the note where I said I thought Wally was gonna be behind the door when
yeah,
they opened it the first time.
yeah. They make it official when she tells Joe, but that she's Barry's girlfriend, and Joe says about time. I think Joe speaks for all of us at Flashbacks here.
Yeah, Jesus.
And then here we go. This is the moment you were waiting
Yep.
for earlier. Hear a knock at the door, and it's Wally, is what my notes say.
Yes.
Yeah.
My
All
my
right.
note in response to that just said motherfucker with an exclamation point. Because
Yeah,
again, I
motherfucker Wally is here.
motherfucking Wally. You know how
Yeah.
motherfucking Wally, dude. That has to be just a recurring joke on our show now. I swear that's the funniest shit you've ever said.
Wally goes, "Hi, I'm Wally. I'm Francie's son." Joe barely gets out his name. He looks like a deer in headlights here. He introduces Iris. He's about to leave, but Joe says to come in. Flash end credit. Cut to Harry in an alley as he meets with Zoom again. He says time's up. What's his decision? Harry says he knows what he's doing, why he keeps sending Earth 2 villains to this Earth. He wants Barry to get faster and stronger, more powerful, more full of Speed Force. He's fattening him up like a Christmas goose. Zoom says the more power he has, the more he can take, and Harry's gonna help him. Harry just wants to see his daughter first. He gets to hug and talk to her for a moment. She begs him not to let Zoom take her back, and he says he won't as Zoom rips her from his arms. Zoom says to like basically decide in return for his daughter's life, and he says he'll do it. He'll help him steal the Flash's speed. Man, what an epic episode, and what a lot of notes I had is
Oh,
what my
yeah.
final note says.
I had significantly less.
Yeah. So like overall, like I know last time we were kind of a little bit more, I wouldn't even say mixed, we're a little bit lower on our
We
rating for
were more
last time.
cynical last episode.
And that's fine. I mean, there's gonna be some episodes we like and then some episodes we like a little bit less, and that's just
Yeah.
kind of how it goes. But
And some we disagree on, like last time as well. We gave last episode different ratings.
yeah, I mean, but we're basically on the same. I feel like on the same
Yeah.
wavelength with most of it, just not being as good as the first part. But I overall this episode, and it wasn't just because Patty was back and the whole relationship stuff, but I think this episode was probably, I'm gonna hot take say it was better than the crossover.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I might have to agree with you on this one.
Yeah, because I'm a Arrow fan. Like I've actually been rewatching the first season of Arrow recently, and that still holds up for me. But like it still was one of those where I'm like, no, this was like because you had a lot more Flash villains. There was like some positive development with like the whole like the storylines and everything, and this was like a
Yeah.
very fun episode, and like the closest I think we'll get to seeing like kind of a live action, other than if you've seen Birds of Prey, like a live action type of Joker, basically. Because in Birds of Prey,
Oh,
the
yeah,
TV
that's
show,
right. I've seen a
they have
clip
that,
of this.
yeah, they have that stand-in that is literally voiced by Mark Hamill, where you get to see
Yeah.
his face and get to
Didn't
see
they
the Killing
use the
Joke
Val
scene.
Kilmer suit as well for that, for Batman in that show?
They definitely use the Batman and Robin suit for Batgirl in
Yeah,
that,
they
but
just
they
paint it
repainted it,
differently.
and it looks great. It
Yeah,
actually
I've
looks
seen the
really
picture
good.
of that one. I'm like, damn.
Yeah, that suit looks great, but I think they used they probably they you're probably right. They probably did put like a really black coat of paint on like probably one of the Forever suits to make it look a
Yeah,
little bit more because this is the level of nerd we are, guys. When they do like a close up of the eyes, like the eye holes for that
yeah.
actor there, like the eye holes are different than they are for the Batman Returns and 89 Cal.
Yeah, it's at least the Forever cowl. That's what I picked up on, because yeah, it has a very different shape.
Yeah. But yeah, anyway, yeah, like the closest you'll get to like a like a Joker like live action animated series kind of vibe to it. Like a lot of this stuff, it feels like basically like a good mixture kind of the 90s show in this a little bit, but then also like kind of with like that modern feel. It feels like a comic book come to life, which is like
Oh
one of the
yeah.
biggest compliments I could give this episode,
Oh
honestly.
yeah, definitely.
Yeah, so what did you think? What were your overall thoughts of it?
I mean, I enjoyed it, you know. I enjoyed parts of the episode more than other parts, and no, I'm not just talking about Wally. Although that was fucking cool to see
Yeah,
Wally like that. But yeah, no, I enjoyed it.
nice. And so for me, I think it would be like a 4 out of 5 lightning bolts. How about for you?
Yeah, I'm about the same, 4.5. I
Yeah,
might even go up to 5, but for now I'll just stick it at 4.5.
definitely. So for me, my heart, humor, and spectacle. Like there was like a few humorous moments. I guess just like the reoccurring bit with like Jay like not knowing what like Earth 2 like basically pretending like oh on Earth 2 I don't know what that is like what you're
Yeah,
talking about. And then the like I said humor. So like the heart would probably be just the stuff with like the watch scene was like really good with him and
yeah,
Joe. I thought that was great, but just overall like the some of the touching scenes with like Joe, with like Wally and just like the regret and everything and that kind of thing, like those were really powerful, I would say.
yeah,
So like a mixture of those. And then the spectacle, honestly, would just be any of these really cool action, the helicopter blades. Let's be
yeah. The
real, the
helicopter.
helicopter,
Yeah,
that chase scene, and then the flying
yeah.
that
They
that weather
fly
wizard
now.
was doing. Yeah, that was great. How about for yourself?
So I'm gonna have to go as the heart for me was Barry and Joe's conversation, like in the pipeline, about how like that boy never had somebody to teach him how to shave, teach him how to drive, do all this stuff.
Yeah.
That was a very heartfelt moment. I think the humor for me was Snart in the house being like, normally I prefer my cocoa with mini marshmallows, but you're out. I checked. That was very funny for me. Um, the spectacle, as a joke answer, I'm gonna say Wally, but my serious answer, helicopter blades. Like the
Yeah.
helicopter blade scene, or just that like entire final fight between him and the two rogues. That was really cool.
Yeah. That was great. So, anyway, obviously, another great episode. So all that being said, you go ahead and do your plugs. I'll do my plugs, and then we'll get out of here.
All right. So, of course, you guys know by now you can catch me here, Flashbacks, a Flash Rewatch podcast, where me and Alex cover every episode of the CW show and in our off seasons do some coverage of things like Batman the Brave and the Bold or Young Justice episodes where Flash appears. We also talk about the comics. You can find me on my YouTube channel, which you can't see, but I'm wearing the shirt for Zurd Games, ZURDD Games. I play superhero games and just in general comic book based video games. I upload now Thursdays and Fridays at 3:30 p.m. Mountain Time. So again, just convert that to whatever time zone you're in. If you do want to buy shirts or stickers or hoodies or whatever, the link should be in the link tree in my bio of my YouTube channel. I also post clips on TikTok. It's just Zerd Games TikTok, all one word, lowercase. Um, I do some voice acting stuff for the Arkham tapes, where I voiced Nightwing. That was childhood dream come true. That was awesome. Um, I am the lead in a secret project for Newverse Creative that I cannot talk about right now, but it
Hmm.
is very awesome. And uh, yeah, then I have also done some voice acting in some Lego stop motion animations, like for Epic Brick Productions, where I did Green Lantern Yalin Gur, and I think a couple other just like random background voices. Um, I have also voice acted on Newverse Creative before as just like, random background characters like thugs or cops or an auctioneer when Ben lost my freaking auction in Batman Enigma. That was pretty funny to me. Um,
Nice.
and I've also done stuff for my friend Minnow Films. I've done Nightwing, all of the Robins now. I've done White Knight, which is their version of the Red Hood. I've done Spider-Man, Superman, Maxie Zeus, tons of other characters that I can't remember right now. But basically, I've done a bunch of stuff for my friend Minnow, so you can go check out their channel. Um, and I have my own podcast, TISMO Talks, a comic book podcast. I have 2 episodes recorded. One is further along in the editing process than the other is. One is, of course, for those who are fans of my show, the next episode in the Spectacular Spider-Man coverage. Finally re-recorded that because apparently the recording I had got corrupt. So that was just fun. But yeah, so I re-recorded that and haven't edited it yet because I also have a Superman review of my review of the 2025 movie that was recorded after I saw it the second time. So yeah, that those should be out soon. I'm gonna try to get them out before Alex puts up our last episode we recorded with the crossover that you guys have already heard by now. And I think that is it.
All right, cool. So, obviously you guys can find me here, Flashbacks and Flash Rewatch podcast. I also have Night of the Batman, where hopefully we'll start uploading some new things soon. And then also, if more superhero things are your thing or superhero stuff, I have superhero stuff you should know that me and Ben record together where we record all like we just talk about like unmade stuff, just different kind of projects.
Do deep
Superman,
dives.
yeah, Superman Lives eventually. I know you guys
Woo!
are look like eventually we'll get around to it, but like we talk a lot about Batman and like there's some older episodes too where we cover like some Batman, 89 stuff. Actually
Yeah.
recently, really quick, I saw
Oh
Batman
yeah.
89 in that old theater in Carolina theater recently, and like one that they show silent films in was a really fun experience. I'd highly recommend if you have an opportunity, see some of these older movies or some of these movies that are kind of like period piece kind of looking in an old movie theater. It kind of
Yeah.
adds like a new layer to it and makes it exciting. But
Yeah.
anyway,
I wish I
that
could
was
have
a lot
done
of
that.
fun.
They had Ninja Turtles re-release, like the 1990s one. Check the theater
Mhm.
over by my house. They're not playing it. So I was like,
Oh
fuck.
man. It happens. But yeah, so that was a lot of fun and hopefully get back to, uploading some Night of the Batman stuff or, or if you like Batman Forever, we talked about it recently on superhero stuff you should know. But also I have Tangential Exchange, me and Trip talk and just kind of catch up. It's the most laid back podcast we have. And then What Mean eventually is coming back. I do have one in the chamber. I just need to find it. It's been so long since we recorded that. That's one of those where I'm like, it's somewhere on one of my digital recorders around here. But anyway, all that being said, are you ready on your end?
Yep.
All right. Three,
Three,
two,
two,
one.
one.
We
We
will
will
see
see you
you
in the
in the
Speed
Speed
Force.
Force.
God damn it, I still did it faster this time.